Right, joining me is IGN's very own Steven Ryu to talk us through Escalation Protocol. This is kind of an interesting endgame open world activity on Mars in the Warmind DLC for Destiny 2. So Steven, what is Escalation Protocol?
Escalation Protocol is basically sort of a horde mode. It's a little spin on a horde mode. Basically, you're in the public event area, and anyone can join, up to 9 people. It equates to 3 different fire teams if there's 3 people in each fire team. And it started right now, and there's just a bunch of enemies for now. But as the waves progress, it gets much harder to the point where unless you have 9 players, you cannot complete it.
How many times do you have to do this?
There's 7 total waves, and actually once it's wave 6, the recommended light level is 400.
400?
Which you cannot obtain.
Wow. Very confusing. It
gets pretty nutty.
What do you get from this?
So you don't get anything until wave 5. And that's just a bunch of tokens and gear that you're probably not going to use. Once you hit wave 7, you get a chance at a weapon and a armor piece.
So are those exclusive to this mode?
They are exclusive to this mode, but getting to wave 7 is extremely difficult.
So there are pros and cons, I think, to this mode, but a lot more pros than I think there are cons. The pros being this is some endgame content, something that the community is very desperate for. I would even go as far to say it's like post-endgame content because we can't currently obtain power level 400.
Yes.
It's emergent, it's in the open world. It can incorporate 9 players, which I think is really cool. It's brutally difficult, and there are exclusive rewards. So all of those boxes are checked. I think that's a thumbs up from my perspective, at least, for Bungie. Here's the Ogre, which is the first boss of level 1. You're on the 4th wave of level 1 fighting this boss. But I think some of the downsides might be you can only take your fire team of 4 people. So 3 people, excuse me. So the other 6 folks in this instance with you, unless you're using something like a VPN and kind of doing some of the stuff that the game doesn't allow you to do without going and doing a bunch of research, you're not going to be able to consistently rely on those people, right?
Yes, exactly. And on top of that, there's no open comms with other random players. There is local team chat, but you have to opt into that, and not a lot of players opt into that. We just killed the first wave boss.
All right, so now you have to rush and get the other one going, correct?
Yes, so we are gonna wait until the tower opens.
Got it.
But yeah, unless you somehow manipulate it and get 3 fire teams of your friends, it does get very difficult. Almost too difficult to where it's not worth the reward at the end.
Absolutely.
Looking for, oh, there it is. It's that big red laser.
So how far have you gotten?
We actually manipulated it and got 3 fire teams of 9 friends, and and we completed it that way.
Wow. So
However,
all the way.
it took every last bullet we had.
Really? That's very funny. So you got the exclusive reward?
Yep, I got the, I believe it was the shotgun and the class piece.
Do you have those on you or no?
I believe I have the class piece. I don't think I have the shotgun.
Okay, we can look at it later.
I can put it on right now. There it is.
Boom, look at that. Beautiful.
That's the Hunter class piece. You can only get it from this mode, which I like.
Sure. I would expect for all the trouble that it would be a little bit more showy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
What are those floating shards in the air?
There's always 4 waves, 4 mini waves to each wave. The first wave is kill all the stuff, and then you have purge these shadow rifts. They're basically green circles. And after you spend some time inside, these crystals lose their immunity shields.
Got it.
You take out the crystals, and then the mini boss spawns, which he's about to spawn. There he is.
Crucial information there.
Yep, and as you progress in waves later on, I believe it's starting wave 4, more shadow rifts spawn, up to 3. So you're gonna have to coordinate with your fire team and split up so you can get all 3 shadow rifts at the same time.
So the Escalation Protocol, I think, is really cool, something new that we haven't necessarily seen before in terms of a very large, very in-depth, very difficult public event. I think there are pros and cons to it, the pros being that this can incorporate all 9 players in an instance in this public event that is multi-tiered, very high light level, definitely endgame content, something that isn't a raid or a strike, which I think is welcome, something that's a little bit obtuse, but definitely gameplay focused and not just weird mechanics.
Yeah.
You just wrapped up level 2, and now you're going to go on to level 3. I think the downsides of this mode, though, are you can only bring a fire team of 3 people. And then you have to do things like manipulate a VPN or live close to each other to try and hope to get in to an instance with the rest of your friends. I think it'd be so much better if you could just play with 8 of your friends and have you in there as well.
Yeah, it would be extremely fun, especially with a game like Destiny. The fun lies in playing with your friends, and when you have to force your way to connect with said friends, it becomes kind of a pain.
You also mentioned earlier that there are no team comms beyond your fire team. So this being one of the most difficult encounters in the game, period, it's kind of strange that you can't communicate with 2/3 of the folks that are doing it with you. So
sometimes a public event will spawn, and it actually takes place of a wave of Escalation Protocol. So the public event combines with Escalation Protocol, so you need to complete this public event while
really?
While fighting the bosses of Escalation
This
Protocol.
is really cool, actually.
So I'm gonna die here.
It happens. So if you've been watching at home, hopefully you've learned A, how to initiate and complete this event, as well as B, gotten a little bit of editorial insight into what we think of it. Overall, I think things like Escalation Protocol are moving Destiny 2 in the right direction. Would you agree?
I agree 100%. I wish they'd expand on activities like this.
Absolutely.
And allow us to play with friends in an easier capacity.
For sure. And as a side note, to end this rant, I kind of want more boss rushes.
I do too.
From the raid. I think everybody who's played the Leviathan, the final raid lair, is just a little bit fatigued on the incomprehensible escape room encounter. It's really cool to have those once every 3 or 4 encounters. But man, I just want to shoot a big bad guy at some point, I think. We're going to move on to a discussion about The Division 2, but before we do that, let's take a look at some of Steven's best clips from playing Escalation Protocol.